Hey, beautiful. I see you. Good morning. Happy Sunday morning. Today is November 3rd, and I am Melissa Farmer Hill. Welcome to the Shero Coffee Chat, where voices flow and women grow. Again, I am your host, Melissa. I am a proud retired Army veteran and the owner of the Shero Coffee Club. We are an e-commerce coffee brand where our mission is to keep the world caffeinated and women veterans celebrated. And when you order a bag from our website, this is what the bag looks like. On the back of every bag you order, you will see a picture of a woman veteran and a narrative about her story. So, military story. And so today we are talking about Valerie Harris. She served in the United States Air Force from 1966. Some of your parents weren't even born in 1966 to 1972. Again, 1966 to 1972. And the funny thing about that is the Air Force had a women's Air Force program. They were integrated, but the women were still they didn't have equal pay. They still have certain assignments they couldn't get and certain jobs they couldn't have. So it, it was integrated, but it still wasn't equal. That didn't end. That women's Air Force program didn't end until 1976. So Valerie Harris was out of the military, out of the Air Force before that even started. So we definitely have to salute women who paved the way for my success, paved the way for the success of other women who served in the United States Armed Forces. And here's what she says. Now, Valerie Harris is a Shero Legacy Ambassadors. Now, the Shero Ambassadors are the women that just raised their hand when the Shero Coffee Club was just an idea. We have a full ambassador program now, but she just raised her hand and said yes because it was me. And so I appreciate her for that. But what Valerie says is after graduating high school, I was unsure about what to do next. How many of you, when you finished high school, was you were unsure about what to do? That's so common, bet- in so many Americans. We're not sure. We want to go to school. We don't want to go to school. But her next sentence says, I was not interested in college at the time. So I got a job at Illinois Bill as an information operator. Look, I look like an information operator now. As an information operator in June of 1966. Were you even born then? Was your mom or your dad, were they even born then? I wasn't even born. But she did get a job in June of 1966. And after 4 months, so she worked there for 4 months, she knew that she wanted to do something different. She said, I had a friend who joined the Air Force, so I saw a recruiter just to get information. And 2 months later, I was in the Air Force. It is an honor for me to present this bag right here of United States Air Force veteran Valerie Harris. So, Valerie, we salute you. Thank you for paving the way for my generation. Thank you for paving the way for women in the U.S. Armed Forces because what you did matters. I didn't have any problems or issues like that, under a women's army program. Most of the MOSs in the military were open to me. Most of the assignments were open to me. So I just thank you for paving the way. And again, thanks. So what's our topic for today? So today's topic is rise and own it, the art of accountability. Did you know that responsibility and accountability are one of the most important keys to success? It really is. They are powerful tools to possess your own success. And I'm going to stick to my notes because, as you can see, I'm all dressed up in my royal blue and my antique gold, but I'm going to church. So you can catch me outside at Christ Universal Temple today. But yeah, to accountability. And I think for me, I had to know the difference between responsibility and accountability because sometimes they can be intertwined, but there is a difference. Responsible means taking responsibility or taking ownership for the things that you have to do, right? We take responsibility for our children, we take responsibility for our job, we take responsibility for, just whatever it is that you do. But accountability is different because accountability means I accept the outcome, good or bad. How my children turn out, I had a hand in that. Can you accept the outcome? Up until age 18, I don't know, do you cut it off then or what do you do? On your job, if something is not going right, do you play the blame game? Well, it's their fault because they didn't get this to me or whatever. Do you play the blame game? In your relationship, is it always someone else's fault? Well, being accountable means really being answerable to every choice, every action, every word you put out into the world. And that's really why you have to be conscious of what you're putting out into the world, what you're saying in conversations, what you're doing at home, what you're doing on social media. You have to be conscious about what you put out into the world because you're accountable for all of that. And really, it's really about, looking in the mirror and then just recognizing that you and you alone own it. You own it. Now, I'm not saying that there aren't external circumstances. Of course, there are obstacles. There's people that's going to test you. It's all of that. All of that is there. But don't forget, it's how you respond, how you adapt, and how you overcome that's going to allow you to rise up in the face of that challenge, become accountable, and possibly make a different choice because the choice of what you do is absolutely yours. And then when you hold yourself accountable, you stop waiting for other people to give you permission to have, do, or be. You stop doing all that. I'm the one. I'm the one responsible. I just remember now that this is my second marriage. And my first marriage, you know, one of the things when we were going through the divorce, one of the things my sergeant major used to always say to me, you are responsible for your own happiness. Because, it was everybody's fault. It was the Army's fault. It was this fault. It was everybody's fault that we got a divorce. But I needed to look into my own actions and I needed to be accountable for that, which I hadn't. And so that led to, depression and thinking it was everybody's fault when it was really what could I have done to make it better? There are probably some things I could have done, but I'm responsible for my own happiness. And that's really what I think that lesson in that first message taught me. It's not the other person. It's not your friend. It's not no one's responsible for your happiness except for you. So one of the things you have to do immediately is really just kind of stop blaming other people, stop complaining about your life, and stop waiting for your circumstances to change. That's not easy. That's not easy. So what you have to do is you have to find those pressure points. In my life, it was procrastination because I had this idea in my head. I knew what to do. I wrote it down. Execution. I procrastinated on the execution. And so when I procrastinated on the execution, what happens is it doesn't pan out the way I had it in my vision a month ago, a week ago. because there are things I needed to do ahead of time in order to allow that vision to manifest. And I didn't because I procrastinated in the last minute. Now I'm stressed. Now I'm trying to put things together, even though I had the plan. So my pressure point was procrastination. You have to find out what's your pressure points. What can you take 100% accountability for? Find that little space in your life where you can take, I'm going to be accountable. You're responsible, but accountable, meaning whatever the outcome is, I own it. You own that outcome. And one of the ways we have to start thinking differently is we have to realize that we can cause things to happen. So if I cause things to happen, it's my fault if it doesn't look the way I want, and it's my joy or my happiness if it does look the way I want it to. And I mean, I don't think joy and happiness should be based on one event, but for lack of a better word, and because I gotta go to church. But yeah, but don't if you find yourself unhappy because things aren't going the way you want to in life, don't just sit in it. You know, if you plan something and things are not working out, keep not working out, don't just sit in it because this journey is yours. So you have to start causing things to happen. For instance, it's always about diet and exercise for me. If I don't exercise 3 to 5 times a week, then it's not anyone else's fault except mine. I have to cause that exercise to happen. So what does that mean? I got to get out. I got to prep the night before. I got to get mentally ready for that alarm clock to wake me up in the morning. I got to put my clothes on, go to the gym, wherever you're going to work out. But you have to cause those things to happen. They just don't appear. And as long as you keep playing the blame game, well, I had to do this and I had to do that, and I couldn't let this person down. We're so busy not letting people down until we're letting ourselves down. You let you down. You're letting you down when you make a plan and you don't stick to it. And then you have all of these reasons not to take accountability. So I'm asking you to stick to your plan. Don't make a long list. Just do one thing. Do one thing this week. Decide today to just start being more accountable. And the funny thing about the word decide is it comes from the Latin word um hydere. Hydere literally means to cut off or eliminate. That's what deciding does. So if you want to eat healthy, it's always like I said, it's always diet and exercise. Or if you want to journal, if you want to read that book, whatever it is, wherever that pressure point is, decide, cut off, eliminate any other choice. And that means if you got to get up 4 o'clock in the morning or you got to stay up until midnight, decide. Because the more you get into the habit of deciding and taking accountability, no responsibility, but accountability, because we already know you're responsible. How about accountability? If it happens, it's because of me. And I want you to think about that. Hey, what I want you to do is just really have that main character energy in your life because so many times we uh, we have that we're not the main character of our own life story. Everyone else is more important and we take responsibility for everything else. But it's time to start being accountable to yourself. And that's all I wanted to say. I thank you for sharing these moments with me, this space of time with me. I really enjoy it. And I hope you do too. Tune in next Sunday where I'll be talking about something else. But like I said, rise and own it, the art of accountability. It's time for you to start taking accountability. Win, lose, or draw. Never a draw. Never lose. All right. Thank you for watching. And as always, be brilliant, be you, be blessed. See you next week.